Rabbi Manis Friedman, hello. Thank God it's Tuesday. Oh, so many things are happening. And of course, the thing that is happening that is on everybody's mind is what's going on in Israel, but not what's going on, the riots and this and that. What's really going on? What's going on there spiritually? What's happening to the people? That's the biggest question of the day.
Well, first of all, Mazel Tov.
Thank you so much, Rabbi Friedman. Thank you. Yes. I did not make the announcement to the listeners that my son got engaged me yesterday. So thank you. By the way, then my first question will be to you, actually. I'm sorry. We're going to get to Israel in a second. Have you written any books about how to be a good mother-in-law?
There's no such book. It's impossible.
That's what I thought it was. Yeah. Okay, maybe it should be. There should be one.
Yeah. Enjoy.
Thank you. Amazing. Amazing. Thank you so much, Rabbi Friedman. Thank you for announcing to the world. And yes, it's the biggest happiness we can be experiencing at the moment. It's really, really amazing news.
And they did it all right.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Yes.
Beautiful.
So proud of that. Thank you very, very much.
After all, you can do it right. It can be done. So what's going on in Israel?
Yeah.
Well, hopefully things calm down a little bit. Netanyahu gave some ground. I guess he had to. But now the question is, and it's a painful question, I think, what was the protest all about? Personal freedom. There are people who want to have abortions, and there are people who want to have all sorts of rights, trans, and let's agree that these are important issues. Look at the reaction when those rights were threatened. Were there really 50,000 people protesting? If there were, then somebody is organizing this. This is not spontaneous. But that's besides the point. My point is, look at how intense, how serious people became about their rights. They call it democracy, but it wasn't. It isn't. And look at how effective this protest was. Now the question becomes, a few weeks ago, 2 brothers were murdered in their car. Before that, 2 young children were killed. Not a single protest? That doesn't deserve a protest? Because it's not your life? Something is really seriously wrong about our values. You'll shut the country down to make sure that you can do what you want? But you won't even raise a voice or shed a tear for Israelis, Jews being killed every week? That doesn't deserve a protest? At least 50,000 people? What is with our values? What is that? So I can imagine, had I asked this question 2 weeks ago, people would have said, protests don't do anything. They don't help. Well, can't say that anymore. You almost brought down the government. It's just a good thing that Netanyahu is not insane, and he did the right thing. But don't say that protests don't help. So I think the people's values and the people's voices need to be raised a little more about the right issues. I wonder if people are asking themselves that question. All of a sudden, 50,000 people are not busy, they're not working, they're not going anywhere, they don't have full schedules. They can spend hours and hours marching and waving flags. For what? So that no one can tell them what to do. Is that a worthy cause? Got to wonder about it.
Rabbi Friedman, I don't know, we can't not notice looking at those people who are coming out that not a lot of them, unfortunately, pretty much none of them are wearing kippahs. They don't really look Jewish. I mean, I don't want to say that you're supposed to have a certain look, but if we did not know that this is happening in Israel and we didn't see the Israeli flags, this could have been taking place anywhere, and the issue is a very general, common issue. So, pretty much, how do we look at this situation that realistically what is happening in Israel is not really a Jewish issue? It seems to be very secular, very something that's not pertaining to Israel, to the Holy Land, to what it's supposed to be all about.
That's true. That's true. We've gotten very, very enamored with calling ourselves a democracy. And that seems to be more important and more triggering than any Jewish issue. As if democracy was Judaism. But yes, it is treated like a religion. But you see, this is what happens. I don't know why. I'm not going to get into trying to explain it. But if you don't have a religion, you make one up. Everyone needs a true passion in life. Religion used to be the passion. Now, if you eliminate religion, and I mean religion in the most positive sense of the word, now that we don't have a good religion, we'll turn something into a religion. Democracy, equality, individualism. We'll make it a religion with the same fervor, willing to die for the cause, willing to kill for the cause. And then people say, well, I'm not into religion, it's too violent.
Rabbi Friedman, what about the fact that a lot of non-Jewish people have moved to Israel in the last couple of years? How do we view it? On one hand, we're a country that should be welcoming to a lot of people, but then those very same people are the ones who, I mean, obviously, if they're not Jewish, they don't want to abide by the religion that's not theirs, and it becomes everybody's country. Did that have anything to do with what's going on, or is it all this Jewish people who are secular in their views? And I don't know. I mean, how do we look at it? Is it terrible that Israel became so diverse?
I would venture to say at least a large portion of the people who move to Israel who are not Jewish do it because they're enamored with Judaism. They want the spiritual side of it. They love it. So they're not the ones who are protesting. because they know that we wouldn't force Judaism on non-Jews. That's ridiculous. Even the biggest anti-Semites have never accused us of that. Isn't that interesting? They accuse us of everything else. They never accused us of forcing them into Judaism. It's just too preposterous. So, no, they come because they love the spiritual side of Israel. And if there was more to it, more people would come.
So we can't blame anybody for what's going on right now. It's pretty much all our doing, all how can we rationalize this situation?
Well, one of the intriguing questions is who organized and who financed this month-long protest? Who? It's an expensive deal.
Well, people usually say it's George Soros, so I don't know.
I don't know. Somebody with very strong interests, not in democracy. Because the government was a democratically elected government. And here was an attempt to overthrow the government by the people who did not vote for him. Now that is a direct assault on democracy. So the government was using completely legal and formal means of passing their agenda or installing their agenda. And the protesters were using some pretty illegal, coming to the United States to ask the United States to pressure Israel. I think there was a time that was called treason.
Well, there seems to be a lot of that going around everywhere. Someone is pressuring somewhere to do something for some purpose, and we can't fully put our finger on any of who and why. And I mean, we all pretty much know and understand, but so you're saying protests is what people should be doing right now? Is that a way to get our point across?
But not with the intent of closing down the government. If you believe in something, you let it be known. If you feel strongly about something, you can't help but scream and cry. And Mordechai went out into the public and cried and put on a sack and ashes. And so why isn't there protest about important things, legitimately important things, not personal freedoms?
Because nobody's financing it? I don't know. Someone has to start then financing it. I mean, you think if people will come out in the street? I'm sorry.
Yeah, then it wouldn't be sincere. Now, without financing, just moral outrage. How do you let children and innocents be killed week in and week out so that you're afraid to get on a bus, you're afraid to drive down the highway, you're afraid to send your kid to school, and nothing? And this has been going on for like 40 years. There's got to be some outrage about that.
Rabbi Friedman, why isn't there outrage about that? Why aren't people, why aren't parents getting together? Not just parents, because it's outraging grandparents, it's outraging uncles and aunts. It doesn't matter. It's human aspect. I mean, some states now have outlawed gender surgeries and gender manipulation. There are some states in New York, in America, that are doing that. But at the same time, still, why aren't people getting together to speak out like they're doing in France right now against, there's pension age has moved. Okay, it's serious and people are burning down Paris, but this is a way more serious and nobody's burning down anything. Not that we want to do that, but, just making a point.
Yeah. Look, we have the same issue in America. Another school shooting, more victims, more children. Is there no way to stop this? Is that really the truth? There's just no way to stop it. Somebody gets disgruntled or, have a few screws loose in their head. What are you going to do? They're going to come into the school and they're going to shoot people. The best you can do is shoot them as quickly as you can. It's the Wild West. Is it true that there is no solution? It's hard to believe.
I think the solution is apparent. I think we see it. I think we understand what needs to be done, but it's just for some reason people are not doing it. I think everybody's on the same page at this point. Well, the majority of the people. What's holding us back?
It's a good question. If it is doable, and it's been going on for so many years, why hasn't something been done? What's paralyzing these governments that they can't seem to find a solution? Now, look, we have a good precedent in New York, which is a really rough city, a rough state to control. And yet, when Giuliani was mayor, quality of life went up. Crime went down, for real. Not what you read in the papers or you hear on the news. Everyone felt safer in their own neighborhoods. Today we're told crime is down. But you hear the sirens all the time. So,
and speak to the people who take public transportation. They don't feel safe.
It can be done, and it was done. How did it get undone? Why would anybody undo that? It's strange, no? Are there more important concerns that get priority attention? I can't imagine what could be more important. So whatever it is, we've got to get past it and apply the solutions, because there are solutions.
Rabbi Friedman, I still would like to go back to our original topic, which is Israel. I mean, realistically, Netanyahu has stopped, he has posed his position because he does not want to have a civil war in the land of Israel, which is, of course, very intelligent. We don't want any kind of wars anywhere. But at the same time, it seems like people are divided. So if we're talking about civil war, we're talking about one side wanting one thing and the other side wanting another thing. Are we clear on what each side is fighting for exactly? Because it seems a little vague. It seems, do people understand what they are fighting for? What is the agenda?
No, they don't. On both sides. They don't understand what they're fighting for, but they've been divided for so many years, and it never became this, it got close on different issues years and years ago. But it seemed like we had reached a place where we agree to disagree. But not about Netanyahu. You can't agree to disagree about him. He's got to go, even if it takes violence. Now, why that is, I don't know. My theory, and we'll find out pretty soon. My theory is we agree to disagree, and that's nice. But the secular world is now realizing that it is doomed. And so it's panicking. Not because they're being destroyed by the right. They're just doomed. They painted themselves into a corner, into a very unhealthy and untenable lifestyle that just can't work. They're not having children, so there's no future. They've got some policies that are just not livable, that are dangerous, that are making people absolutely insane. So it's imploding. It's collapsing on itself. One day they're going to get up and say, okay, we blew it. But until they're ready to do that, they're going to blame somebody. They won't take the blame. They're going to say that they're being destroyed, that they don't have enough freedom, and that's why they're not doing well. They run the country. They have all the freedom in the world. Partly because they control the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court has no oversight.
Rabbi Friedman, at this point, I do have to ask. So you're saying we need to get rid of Netanyahu. However, this is exactly what he's trying to accomplish. Is he's trying to not let the courts control the land of Israel. So, but still, why is your statement that we need to get rid of him? And besides, that little period of time which we did not have him was actually even probably worse. I'm not disagreeing. I'm just asking a question.
Why do they want to get rid of him?
Why do we need to get rid of him? I mean, why?
Oh, we don't.
We don't.
No, he's been very good.
Oh, okay. I misunderstood. I apologize. Okay.
No, I'm saying what the left is thinking. So now they're blaming him for their failure. He didn't do anything wrong to them. Maybe now that he has a new coalition, he's going to. I doubt it. I don't think anybody really suspects that. But they need to blame their own failure on somebody. So they're panicked.
Well,
when you panic, you do stupid things.
Well, today we already had a very small group of religious people come out and we don't want to say, well, actually express their opinion. So there are little small groups of people coming out saying, no, let's not stop the reforms. Let's go forward with the reforms. But can we make a dent this way, or is it something that's really not going to, it's something we speak about and it's going to go away in a little bit?
I don't know. I don't know how politics works. Is this going to let people calm down? Will it cool the passions, and then we can revisit the whole issue again with cooler heads? Maybe. Is that what Netanyahu is thinking? Possibly. I mean, this massive riots cannot happen every month. People don't have that kind of time to keep doing this, even if they are getting paid for it. I don't know. So, no, it's not going to happen over and over. So after they've got their passions vented and they've had their victory, now maybe they can be more rational. It's not a threat to democracy. Nobody's going to force them into religion. The whole thing is just not. And if you work with Netanyahu, you gain a lot more than try to fight him. And that's always the case. So, of all the surprises that we were expecting, we were not expecting this.
Well, the whole world seems to say that Israel was left for last. I don't know exactly what that means, but that it's kind of the last draw on everything that is happening in the world in general. I don't know. It feels like everything started with Israel and now everything is leading back there. So what do you think? What do you think? Is there anything in the Torah that can prepare us for what's about to happen?
Well, what you're saying is really interesting. For most of history, I'm talking about real history, for most of human history, Israel has been in the news. This tiny country with very few natural resources has fascinated or captivated the attention of people all over the world for all of history. And it's doing it again. So I suppose if the world is meant to become holy, it's got to begin in the land that is already holy and spread from there. So Israel has to generate some holiness for the world. Somehow it's going to do it.
That is the big question right now. People are saying that we're just not doing what we're supposed to be doing. They want it to come from us, and it's not coming from us. Rabbi Friedman, what is wrong with us? The question is, what is wrong with us?
Well, we've been living in a hostile world for a long time, and you can't undo 2,000 years of oppression in 70 years of less oppression.
It's just the question is why everything's, Israel seems to be, you're right, always in the news. And even recently with the pandemic, I mean, in Israel, the jabs were ruled like with an iron fist. You got to do it. You got to do so many of them. And there was such a tremendous law about how people are going to treat this pandemic and the COVID shots in regards to it. Why can't we be as strict in other areas? Why can't we do things organized the way, we know how to organize ourselves. We have all the tools. Why aren't we using any of the tools that we're given to do what we're supposed to be doing? And if the government can be so strict when it comes to COVID, why can't it be strict about being Jewish? This is a Jewish state.
You would think. See, there was a very strong personal interest in the COVID drama. There's a very strong personal interest in the protests. We don't have a very strong interest in Judaism. Not that there aren't people who are completely devoted but they're treating it like an individual thing, not like something that belongs to the public. There are the religious and there are the non-religious. And they'll keep arguing about it. No one really feels that Judaism is the way, not only for Jews, but to some degree for the whole world. The only one who represented that kind of position or platform was the Rebbe. and now his emissaries. But that's got to catch on. It's got to become. Judaism is our answer. Not an option for those who are religiously minded or inclined. So, what will it take to educate the people? The religious people. Stop treating Judaism like it belongs to you. Like it's a private or family affair. That's basically what we're trying to do. That's what you're trying to do. Judaism is not for those who are religious. Judaism is the soul of the world, the purpose of creation, the goodness, the kindness, the purposefulness. You can't make a religion out of that. You can't own it. You can't put a copyright on it. It's our inheritance, and everyone inherits equally. So this is where it's going, because it has to. It's like that analogy about the ship that is steaming for Israel, for the Holy Land, which means that from here it's going east. And there are people on deck walking towards the west. They think they're going west. Relative to the ship, they are going west. But the ship is going east. So where are they going to end up? In Jerusalem. So this is what is happening. But there are too many people thinking that they're walking towards the west. And it's their right to do that. Yes, it is your right to do that, but you're going in the wrong direction. The ship is going east. At least don't be fooled. More and more people are starting to feel that. So the people who are walking towards the west just discovered that the ship is going east. The ship that they are on is taking them to the east. And there's nothing they can do about it. Walk faster, run towards the west? Nope. You're just facing the wrong way. Turn around.
Rabbi Friedman, but it's so easy to see realistically, if people really open up their minds, they will see what is happening in Israel very clearly. It's everything that we've been talking about today. There is a small people group in Knesset that is really fighting for morality. It's just a hard way for them to approach the nation that hasn't been following the laws that they're supposed to be living by. That's why it's the land of Israel. There are plenty of other countries where people can have other rules, and if we're there, we have to live by those rules. But this is the country that has been biblically given to the Jewish people. And I understand there's a lot of arguments about it, but there's a lot of arguments about a lot of things, so we can be at peace about this aspect of our lives. But realistically, this small group of people in Knesset is now trying to fight for the morality, for the way that the Jewish people should live. And all of a sudden, you get a huge amount of people raise up and go public and fight exactly this. No. Okay, so, how much more obvious should it be to the Jews of Israel and to all the people of the world of what's really, really going on right now?
Well, let's just say, for the sake of honesty and clarity, the secular thinking, not the left, politically, militant, but the secular thinking is highly moral. They're moral people. And they're pursuing what they believe to be morality. So in a sense, they're religious about what they believe and what they stand for. It's just not exactly in line with Torah's morality. But they do intend to be moral, and they're trying their best to be moral. And in some ways, they are very moral. So how do we reconcile how the Torah says, before there was a king in Israel, we had a problem. What was the problem? Ish kol hayosher be'einav yaseh. Everybody did what they thought was right, otherwise known as chaos. But look at how the Torah describes it. Not the people were bad. Criminals, violators, no. Everybody was doing what they believed to be goodness, moral. But that, with all those good intentions, that's chaos. So the religious people have to appreciate that the secular Jews are very religious about their values. And in some ways, they are disappointed with the more religious parties or societies that they're not as moral as they claim to be. So this is really a moral debate. It's not moral people against immoral people. Now, of course, those who are politically motivated, who are militant, yeah, there is some malicious intent, I'm sure. But the average non-observant Jew in Israel is very religious in their own way. And that's all they're really asking for. All they want is to practice morality willingly, by free choice, by their own volition. They don't want to be told to be good. They want to be good. So we're not that far apart. We're not worlds apart. It seems that way, but... So everyone wants to be good. Everyone is trying to be good. Everyone is committed to being good. Why all the chaos? Well, because being good can be a problem too. And that's why the Chabad message is, don't be good. Serve God. And since there's only one God, if you're serving God, there will be unity. How do you serve God? Everyone according to their personality, everyone according to their understanding, but with a single goal. So if everyone was walking towards the east on this ship that is going east, we wouldn't be bothered by, can you walk faster? Can you slow down? We're all going in the same direction. What's the emergency? What's the problem? Let everybody go at their own pace. We're all going to end up where we belong. So what's the friction? What's the disagreements? That's the real solution. We try to be good without God, and that makes us impossible to get along with. I'm good. No, I'm good. No, I'm the right way. You're the right. This has torn the world apart for thousands of years. The people who want to do good.
Wow. A lot to think about, Rabbi Friedman. This is a very difficult. I always try to stay away from the topic of Israel because it's kind of hits home so much that it's really hard to talk about, to analyze. It's painful. Realistically, it's simply painful. And I'm sure every single Jew, no matter where they're religious or not, feels the same way. Somehow deep down inside, it's a topic that bothers us because, if people, no, it's still our land and we all attach to it. And I don't think that could be taken away from anybody, any Jew around the world.
And nobody wants that to happen. Nobody. There was a little incident, beautiful little incident. Some of the protesters entered into a very religious neighborhood, and it was Friday, and people came out and offered them some of the food that was prepared for Shabbos, cholent and kugel or whatever. And it was beautiful. They were both pleasantly surprised with each other's decency. One guy, an older man, became so emotional. He was wrapped in an Israeli flag. He was protesting. But they started singing in the streets. They started singing Shalom Aleichem, the Friday night song. It brought back memories for this guy, and he was standing there like instead of an Israeli flag, he was wearing a talit. And he started singing along, from childhood memory. He was crying. He was emotional. It was beautiful. That's what's going on. Let them get a taste of their own Judaism. They're going to love it. There's no need to argue and force and insist. Give a Jew a taste of his Judaism, and he's in love.
Rabbi Friedman, we know the answer. We all know the answer. We've been talking about it, and everybody deep down inside themselves also knows the answer. The question is, when will they accept the answer? The answer has been there all along, and it's been enough already.
It's been there for 100 years in Russia. How do we export it? How do we get it out of Russia? Make it available to the rest of the world.
Hopefully we'll see a miracle before Passover. Things are escalating so quickly that it seems like any second, and maybe there's still a chance for us to really experience it like very, very soon.
It would be reasonable because everybody has vented their feelings. Everybody got it off their chest. Everybody's feeling good about it. Now can you be rational?
Maybe. Hopefully. Well, Rabbi Friedman, thank you so much for this program. Thank you very much for giving us some clarity about really what's going on in the world and how we are supposed to be treating it. That is the most important message that you give us this every week, and it's absolutely priceless. And hopefully we are not going to have too many surprises this week, and next week we can actually speak about the upcoming major holiday of Passover, which we are anticipating very, very much.
Yeah, we are.
Thank you so much, Rabbi.
One of the things people were worried about, the new government in Israel wanted to pass a law that hospitals on Passover can serve only Passover foods. Is that a crisis? Is that a crisis?
Would people notice? Realistically, which food they're being served?
And isn't it a much healthier diet?
for the holiday of Passover for sure is. Sure is.
Anyway, thank you very much. Mazel tov again, and we'll see you next week.
Yes, thank you so much. So looking forward to it. Have a wonderful week, Rabbi Friedman. Thank you for everything you're doing for us and for everybody.